There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Yonkō Table. I'm your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, and today we would like to ponder the question, what if? You like and subscribe to the Yonkō Table on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all social media platforms. But we also want to present the question, what did you guys think of Marvel's What If? The brand new series on Disney Plus that basically brings us the question, what if certain scenarios played out in different ways in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And we have episode 1 of season 1 out today, Wednesday, August 10th, right? Today's August 10th.
No,
Yeah.
fool. Today is August 11th.
I'm a day behind. August 11th. We're good. But with me today is fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop. Grandmaster, how have you been? I heard school started today, right?
No, school started on Tuesday. Goodness gracious.
I'm all over the place.
Yesterday. But I'm doing good. Thank you for asking, Dr. Jace. Yes, school has started, and I watched today's episode of What If on the way to school, as well as when I got to school, I shirked some of my responsibilities to finish the episode. I was like, all right, come on, let me go print some stuff now. But yes, I'm having a good day, having a good week so far. Happy to be here to talk about, ponder the question, what if?
That is what we will be pondering during this episode. Next up, we got fellow Supernova Darce. Darce, how have you been? I know you're filled with Marvel excitement right now.
Oh yeah, definitely filled with Marvel excitement. You know, we left off with some pretty cool cliffhangers at the end of Loki. This is the next thing that comes out, and I'm so excited to see all these different variations of what if.
What if? That's the main question we're going to be going into. And last but not least, we have a brand new Supernova joining us at the table today. Everyone, give a welcome to Supernova Rick. Supernova Rick, how have you been, my man?
Appreciating it being on here, guys. I've been trying to get on for the longest. Been talking to GrandMasterHoop, trying to figure it out with all the things going on with me in school, just trying to figure it out. But I'm excited to be here, guys. I'm ready to talk about it and figure out what if. Really, what if?
Glad to have you, man. And hey, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump straight into it, right?
Dr. Jace, you went out a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't hear that last.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Hear you now.
Okay,
You're good.
Okay, we're diving straight into.
Here.
Can you still hear me? Yeah.
No, we can.
Okay. All right, diving straight into Marvel's What If. This is Marvel's official, right? First animated production. Like they've done other stuff before, right? Like kind of the
Marvel,
shows on Disney, or that's not Marvel proper.
Marvel Studios.
Studios.
Kevin Feige and crew. This is their first foray at this. Everything else, I believe, was Marvel like animation or something. But
yeah,
like Spectacular
the
Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, all those Avengers and whatnot. That's not Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige doesn't have his foot in there.
Right.
So
Right.
he's putting his foot in this one.
No, and I can really get those vibes too, because most, I won't say all because not all of them return, but most of the primary cast for the Marvel Cinematic Universe come back to reprise their roles in Marvel's What If. So we have I forgot her name, man, but returning as Peggy Carter.
Fan.
No.
Don't worry, man. I don't know her name either.
You're really wrong. Haley Atwell.
The disrespect.
No, you know what's funny?
Carter fans are gonna ring us a new one.
I was going through the cast at the end with the credits, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm not gonna remember her name.
Terrible.
Well, because the one person I did notice that did not reprise their role was Chris Evans. as Steve Rogers. Was there like a reason? Was like a conflict of like timing?
Probably money. They probably couldn't afford it.
Outside of his contract.
How can you bring on Samuel L. Jackson but not Chris Evans?
Wait, was that Sam?
That was Sam. I thought it was not Sam. I thought it wasn't him too. But in the credits, it's Sam Jackson.
Okay.
I mean, he only had a small speaking role. I guess it'll also depend on how much they're paying him per and all that.
I guess.
Like, he was right at the end. So I'm like, if I was Samuel L. Jackson, they'd throw me like $50,000, $100,000 to say sentences.
To Sam Jackson's defense, he likes voice acting, you know? Like he's done plenty of movies voice acting, and Afro Samurai.
Yeah.
You know, that was he had a great time doing that. The Boondocks.
Jim Rummy,
right. I would hate to think that Chris Evans made this about money. I would like to think he just wasn't available.
Well, I mean, it could also be just like contract wise. Like we have all these TV shows coming out, especially with Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then like if it was released that Chris Evans has one more thing with Marvel, everyone's going to start speculating something. So you don't want people's like expectations to be so high just for him to be like a cartoon voice. I don't know. I would have thought for sure he would have showed up in Captain Falcon.
And we didn't get that either.
I mean, I would like to think he's definitely passed the torch and walked away from the live action bits.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just crazy because everybody else is here. Other than
everyone.
Robert Downey Jr. also didn't come back. But everybody else is.
But wait, who would he? Was he gonna play Howard?
No, I'm talking about in the future episodes.
Oh, the future episodes?
Okay. Yeah, future episodes. Yeah.
Well, we know who's not gonna be there in a future episode.
Our ScarJo.
The spider.
Oh my god.
Well, no, because she might if they have pre-recorded lines, because these lines go back like years. Because
we have Chadwick that's going to be coming back.
We do have Chadwick. Yeah,
we do. So
and he's done 4 episodes.
4?
That's what's been reported
in season 1.
In season 1.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So, he's done 4 episodes.
But we have no confirmation if they're all like connected to the same like thread, right? Like the same episode, or is it like different?
That's the big what if, because
all right.
If you deep dive some of these trailers and whatnot, I think we'll see Peggy Carter as Captain Carter again in another episode. Yeah. So I think there could be.
Well, they did confirm. I think they said she is coming back for season 2. Like
no, I'm talking about in season 1.
Okay, right.
Moving on, yeah,
right.
That'd actually be pretty cool if they're creating like an alternate universe in itself, where it is all of them are going to come together and then.
Yeah, let's dive into that. Like at the end of Loki, we saw that they opened up the multiverse, and now we have Uatu the Watcher that's just saying like, hey, look, when you have that butterfly effect, if someone makes a choice that wasn't part of the original timeline, which can sometimes be a time prison, you know, like you can see different variations of things. And so if Peggy decided to stay downstairs instead of going upstairs, this is what happens. And so it's cool to see like that multiverse, like right after Loki, and you see all this different, you know, stuff. Who knows, maybe we'll actually get Haley Atwell in Captain Carter uniform for one of the multiverse movies.
Oh, like live action.
She better beef up. She gotta beef up some.
You gotta be super strong, man, like a She-Hulk.
Right. And that's the thing too, is that we don't know if this is a singular thread this season. Like Peggy Carter, you know, did her little moment, and we're watching a single thread of the multiverse strain, or if every episode is going to be a different strain of the multiverse. So now that you bring that up,
strain rather than one continuous thread. I mean, yeah, you're right. But that's the crazy part, is that if each of these episodes are a standalone change in a moment, that changes everything, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I understand it, especially if they're a standalone, because it will change a shift. It kind of will be a shift. I understand what you're saying, where it's like it's a single entity in each episode. Yeah, it could change the whole thing. And I'm wondering if they're going to go in order based on how the Avengers came to be. So it's like first Avenger was Captain America. So like I'm wondering if that's how the episode's going to go and how they're going to release it. That'd be a pretty cool sequence to actually.
That's a good thought. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I don't even know who episode 2 is about. but it could be Iron Man or who.
Well, no, episode 2 is it does have T'Challa in it.
Oh,
so I'm
episode.
assuming, yes. So
Okay.
next week is I'm assuming it's the one with Tony Stark and what if T'Challa, right, saved him?
No, it's Killmonger.
Oh,
That's
Killmonger.
Killmonger.
Oh, never
Oh,
mind. Scratch that. Okay. Right.
If it's T'Challa, then it's him getting abducted by Yondu.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just talking about these, like, I'm so excited to like really see what direction they're gonna go in with all these different plot threads. Knowing where we left off in Loki, are you guys more excited now about this show, What If? Because Loki pretty much established this stuff is happening, right? Whereas before we got the end of Loki, it was more so that this show was going to be like, oh, you know, these are just like silly little side stories about what we think might happen if Peggy Carter just stood right next to Steve Rogers' experimental, you know, shenanigans. But Loki pretty much established, hey, we're actually going to make this, I guess, canon in a way. This is stuff that happened at the end of Loki, and now we're seeing the effect of that. Are you guys more excited about the show in that way, or are you kind of just still...
Hold on, like, help me clarify something. So, like, are you guys concerned that this might be, like, a different Earth, like a different universe that we're in, like, all these episodes are in the same universe, it's different? Or are you guys saying that it's, like, just different universes for each episode?
Well, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at. This could be, every episode could be a reaction to Peggy Carter staying in the room.
Oh, so like a build off of like, hey, this is what shifted here. So now that she's that, something else is shifting in the timeline. Okay.
Yes. That's what thinking about it now, that's what I would probably like to see, because if every episode was alone, then it'd be like, well, let's see where they go from here. For example, in the next episode, if it's the Killmonger saves Tony, where could they go from there? You know, versus a continuous strand. But definitely by the end of Loki, yes, I was more excited to watch this show, seeing as how it ties into the multiverse theory versus just a show that is pondering the question, what if? Now, yes, it's pretty much canon now. And whenever they talk about the sacred timeline and the branches, this will be a branch. So that's pretty cool. And maybe it could fold into the live action. Maybe.
I mean, it's better that they're actually doing it. I mean, especially where you're not kind of wasting a cinematic universe and what they're doing with it. Because like they could have did how DBZ did with Dragon Ball GT and that was a terrible attempt at making it. Yeah, like that was a terrible attempt at like creating another universe. Like, what is this?
Fighting words.
No, I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of GT.
I'm not either, but we do have GT fans out there. We do. But I guess reeling it back in, what did you guys think of episode 1? You know, just excluding anything that we might assume that the season 1 might go into in the future with T'Challa or any other characters, just assuming this is a standalone episode 1, which we might get some sequels to in the future. What did you guys think about this? So this is essentially a what if scenario if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers. Did you like the way that they handled the whole scenario, where how she got it? Like, just, I'm gonna throw it on the table. What do you guys think?
Yes, I loved it just because they took like one small moment from the original movie that was kind of like an oversight, or not even an oversight, but just like they took that small moment and they're like, so what if she didn't go upstairs and prevented the bomb? What if she was downstairs? You know, like, it's kind of cool to see like these small moments from the like what actually happened in the movie. And it's not just like something stupid like, oh, what if that person's flight was delayed and they never went and blew up the consulate or whatever, you know, like it actually was like a legitimate, like, oh, if she was down there, she would have been able to see some of the stuff, maybe stopped it and became like the super soldier, just like how it played out. So I kind of like the way that it was done. The animation of it is actually kind of cool too. At first I was like, but then it grew on me.
I was really surprised by the animation. That was the most shock, because like, you know, you could only see so much in the trailers, and 3D animation it's really hard to surpass traditional 2D in terms of like action sequences and just animation in general. The fact that they got me excited watching some of these scenes with Peggy, like throwing the shield around and just battling other like Hydra soldiers, it was actually really good. I was honestly surprised by it. And you don't really get that with 3D animation as a whole.
Yeah, I definitely would say I enjoyed the episode as a whole. Not even include the animation style, but just how the story. There were different pieces that changed as you went on. Because like the fact that the suit was created, like based on like Steve Rogers not being into the becoming Captain America. Now Stark actually created the suit. So now that came out of nowhere. Like I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Where they're changing the storyline. Where it's like, all right, we just had Captain America. He went and saved Bucky. He had his crew. They did everything. But it's like now he had the suit. Like he's pretty much like a early age Iron Man already.
Right.
So that was insane to me. I was like, that they didn't just change one aspect. We're just putting Carter into the role of Captain America or Captain Carter. They changed different aspects of the story, and then they even tied in where it was like pieces during that time women weren't really seen as fighters. So like they tied in that aspect where she had to actually overcome something. With a 33-minute episode, you can't really you try to crunch things in, but that aspect was pretty good too as well.
They did a great job of crunching the entire First Avenger movie into 33 minutes and like putting a spin on it and everything. I thought they did a great job with all of that.
Well, see, I don't know if I'm a fan of the 33-minute runtime because, I mean, the First Avenger is probably one of the most rushed movies in the MCU. I mean, it's one of the only films that has a montage sequence in it. Anytime you have a montage, that's you are designated a rush movie. With that said, I mean, I agree with y'all pretty much on everything though. For what they were given, yes. Well, I guess what I'm getting at is I would have liked to seen it fleshed out more, because in the 33 minutes that we were given, I don't think we were given a balance in tone. Like I enjoyed, like everything y'all said, I've enjoyed it all. The animation, the fight scenes, even that minuscule bit with her being in the room, like it makes sense. Like she's a spy. She noticed that guy acting awkward, the Hydra agent. And it makes sense that her being in the room would make her notice it. But a lot of times I thought, man, some of this is kind of goofy. Like, and I mean, maybe that's an animation trope to have a lot of, jokes thrown in there. But like when she punched out the Hydra agent and his face went all cartoony, like,
she punched a bunch of Hydra agents.
She punched out she punched out one and his face warped into the
buff dude.
Yeah, the buff dude. Okay. I think he said, I didn't know Fraulein's could hit so hard. And so, with a longer runtime, I think they probably would have been able to have a balance in tone, because like I also definitely wasn't necessarily sold by the sadness at the end, like the original First Avenger. But again, it's a show and it's a cartoon show,
I don't know. I have to combat you on that one. I thought they did a really good job of just putting it all together. They have the love component in there. You have like that little bit of like empathy, like that was going for Steve. And then like, as soon as like they thought he died, like that was like a huge turning point, and it kind of motivated everybody to go and make that action. Like they incorporated a lot of elements of like different movies straight into this 33. It's not easy to put all of that into 33 minutes, and I think they did a really, really good job of doing all of that in 33 minutes.
I'm just saying, I think they struck me as somewhat cartoony.
No,
and it's a cartoon.
For sure.
Plot twist. Yeah. It's a cartoon.
I do understand what Grandmaster's saying about the rushed aspect of it, because it did feel like they were just going through all the story beats, like one after the other.
Those major beats, right?
Right. But at the same time, I feel like the writers of the show acknowledge that most of the Marvel fans have seen the first Captain America movie. And I think they just not really just retread some of those old themes and plot points from the original movie. They just want to go straight to this is what's different right here. So Peggy got the serum. So now Peggy's experiencing prejudice in the military. So now she's going to battle Red Skull, and Red Skull actually dies. And then the portal opens up. Like, they just want to get to the new stuff. You've already seen the original Captain America movie. So they're just going boom, boom, boom. And I can appreciate that to a degree. It does feel rushed, because I did feel that, but I liked that it was rushed because it got to the interesting stuff a lot more quickly, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely makes sense. It makes sense in that aspect because, like you said, it's a 33-minute run and they're trying to do an alternate universe. But I guess I'm teetering on the fence of that because I did really appreciate the story and the new aspects. But I could say, like, when she at the end, when she was just like pushing the Kraken thing through and then she comes out on the other side, like, yeah, you really don't feel how you felt when Steve was frozen in ice. I get that.
Right.
GrandMasterHoop was saying, because you're like, when he's frozen in ice, you're like, all right, what is happening? And he wakes up and his whole life has changed. His girl is gone, like all that. She's just like, what year is it? And then they're like, oh, the war's over. She's like, well, we won. All right, great. We won. She's sad about it, but she's like, we won. I guess we won. And you're like, you don't really feel that it pulled on your heartstrings like the actual movie did. But overall, like what they did within that small time frame was very good. Very good. I appreciated it.
Let me hop off what you just said, because now that you mentioned it, I actually really like that, because, you know, the moment Steve came out the ice and noticed he was like 70 years in the future, his biggest concern was, you know, I had a date. And then, right, and Peggy Carter's over here. I mean, yes, she was definitely thinking about Steve, but she, you know, she put aside her feelings to be like, oh, we won the war.
Yeah.
It's a cool little parallel. And I will say this, they did some good parallels because, you know, as we mentioned before, they put Steve in the armor. And I think that was really smart because that always makes me think about the quote, you know, he's like, big man in a suit of armor. Take that away and what are you, you know? And here they are taking, that's a pivotal Captain America line. And they say, all right, Steve, now you in the armor. What you gonna do? Right?
You gonna talk the same crap, my man?
Well, and you know, true enough, he didn't, because it is more about the man, proving that, you know, like Tony is a good man, and now we see Steve, you know, experiencing the same kind of, you know, whatever.
Walk a mile in his shoes.
There you go. Walk a mile in his shoes. Exactly. So I would like to see them draw some cool parallels in the future like that. That's why I think it stands out. In any future episodes too, I think don't try to cram, like, you know, this one was covering a movie. I don't think they're gonna try to cover movies in the next episodes. You know what I'm saying?
Do we think so?
They are.
I mean, they could very much.
Because I feel like the next one, I mean, if it's Killmonger saving Tony Stark, I feel like they're just gonna retread what happened in the first Iron Man movie, but with the mindset of,
there's no movie. There's no movie. Hey.
Right, there wouldn't be a movie if Iron Man was safe, you know?
Yeah, like there's no movie.
I don't know, man.
Unless it's him it's him and Killmonger running away from the 10 rings.
Yeah, that could be it. Give me
my Jericho. Give me my Jericho. Give me my Jericho.
What Jericho?
Oh my god.
And then Killmonger's over here like, is this your billionaire? And then that's it.
Oh my god. We'll see.
I'm sorry. Let's stick to this episode. I'm sorry.
We might get a Guardians movie with T'Challa being
God, a movie?
No, just the same movie with T'Challa.
You know, with T'Challa being Star-Lord.
No, that's terrible. Because then you got what? Then you got T'Challa playing music, and he's like, "This is from the great African nation of Zimbabwe. My grandfather used to play this for me to go to bed every night." And then, you know, versus Star-Lord would have been.
And it's Aretha Franklin.
Right, exactly. No movie. I don't want a rehash of. I don't want another rehash.
I don't know. I think I'm excited to see what all these episodes have in store.
Same.
No, for sure. And I do want to see how they stray away from the movies. Like, I mean, in this episode, they straight up kill Red Skull.
They did.
Like, that outright get rid of him. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be some variation.
The Soul Stone.
No, and that's a good question.
Oh,
Like,
there you go. Yeah.
exactly. And that was one thing. Like, what was Red Skull's goal in this movie? He was trying to open another dimension to bring in like a tentacle monster.
He wanted to bring in
like the Kraken, bro. They're like trying to control a Kraken through it, and then it just kills him. I'm like,
Is that?
Well, I think he called it the mascot of Hydra because, Hydra.
Okay.
Hydra doesn't necessarily have tentacles, but Marvel's Hydra, it's a skull with tentacles.
It's an octopus, big red octopus.
Right, and now here comes Cthulhu coming through.
That's what I thought it was. I lost the way for a second to go check on my food, and I was like, "Is this called Cthulhu in here?" I'm like, "What is that?"
Right. That's what I was thinking too with the tentacles. But yeah, he's straight up dead. Yeah, the Soul Stone. I guess it's unguarded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For all we know.
Until they show that somebody else is there protecting the Soul Stone, because it could be, another thing that might accidentally slip into the what if.
That is
Very
true.
true.
I mean, Peggy Carter technically went through, right, the portal,
And she came right out.
and
like,
you can imagine it probably spent like a couple hours, probably from her end, but it was 70 years
Yeah.
from Earth's time, so they could do something with that. They could do
Plus,
something.
what's crazy too is that we're not going to get a Winter Soldier out of this.
Right. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
'cause
another
Bucky-
good point. Yeah.
Bucky never. I thought for sure that when Steve, went down with the train,
Oh, he'd be the new
he
Winter
was going
Soldier.
to end up becoming the Winter Soldier, and he was going to randomly get.
That would have
buffed
been cool, man.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool.
I mean, well, what did you guys think about like the other aspects that they introduced into this episode? So like they kind of gave Peggy Carter like a new kit in terms of combat a little bit, because she's using a shield and a sword at times.
Yeah.
More so
Picked up a
towards the
sword.
end.
Right.
And there's like a lot
Yeah.
of more Peggy. I swear, I'm getting close to saying Peggy Hill, and I keep stopping myself.
from
From King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
Yeah, every time I say
That
Peggy,
boy ain't right. That boy ain't right.
but like they have a lot of Peggy and Steve,
Carter.
Peggy Carter and Steve like combo moments,
Right.
and I like that. So like,
I did too. I thought that was really cool.
do you think we're gonna see more of those pair ups in future episodes of like I don't know, like maybe we might get a Killmonger and Tony Stark pair up for whatever reason. They both have advanced suits. They both have
No, they
advanced
don't.
suits.
He doesn't have a suit.
You think they're gonna have Tony
Yeah, they're
Stark
gonna
walking
have-
around without an Iron Man suit?
If he doesn't
He's
get
a fucking
kidnapped,
briefcase.
Come on, he's gonna carry
if
a
he doesn't
briefcase
get
and that's
kidnapped
it.
in the desert, he's not gonna be motivated to make a suit.
They are going to make a BS reason for Tony Stark to make
No.
the Iron. Yes, they
No,
are.
he's gonna make a-
All right,
He's-
hold on. She's got a point. Maybe like something happens, like a Jericho missile kills Killmonger, and now you have nobody there to challenge the throne. And then Tony's just like, "Oh man, I'm so distraught. Like my weapons did this. I'm gonna build a suit to avenge my friend." And so he goes and builds a suit, and then goes and blows up whatever place that they captured him. I forgot the name of it.
Exactly.
And rings.
Darce is onto something right here.
Look,
You never know.
I'll-
That's the whole thing. It's a
That's
what
the
if.
whole point.
It is a what-
To
it is a
rule
what
out,
if.
to rule out, he's not gonna be Iron Man. You can't. You cannot rule it out.
What about Killmonger being Iron Man? Think about
there
that.
you go. There you go.
Tell you, maybe he's gonna get something. He's gonna get the shrapnel on his chest, and Tony's gonna try to save him. It's
You
a
need to
what if.
stop shaking your head.
What if?
I'm gonna segue us back to Peggy and Steve. We can talk about Killmonger in our last bit because look at this. But I will say this: yes, I would like to see team-ups. Yes, sole purposely because Peggy sat on the sidelines in the first Avenger film, the whole film. You saw her doing some mapping, some scouting, but she wasn't part of the action, really. Not.
Oh,
until
she
the
was
very-
actually there. Like
in the movie.
Yeah, she was in there a few
Yeah.
times. Her and Tony were in the plane when
I remember when she
jumped
was
out.
bedridden. Not in the first Avengers movie.
No, the first Avenger,
Bedridden.
Captain America.
Captain.
the
Oh,
first-
you're saying Avengers. I'm thinking of a.
No,
okay.
I said the first
Captain
Avenger.
America, the
The
first.
first.
Avenger.
Oh my. Okay. Okay.
What the point is, she sat on the sideline,
Yes.
and then this
Yes.
show capitalized and be like, well, we could put Steve on the sideline too, but in reality, it was like they definitely could have used. I mean, granted, product of their time, but imagine if Howard got inspired and gave Peggy Carter an Iron Man suit, to go join the fray.
What's cool too is like, since Peggy didn't have to go and do all that propaganda, have to go out and like try to solicit people to join the war or to get encouraged for the war, she was able to actually go out and do missions, and that's what made her win. That's what changed the future, and she was able to actually get the Tesseract, which is something Steve Rogers couldn't do until the very end.
And that's a test to Peggy's character, because Steve, with the propaganda stuff, he just kind of, yes, he's a big hulking version of himself now, but he kind of whimpered down and he went along with it until he was like, enough is enough. Peggy was like, no, I'm getting out in the field. This is what the serum was made for, and I'm gonna do my shit. So again, another cool parallel.
Idle hands are the devil's play toy or something like that. Like, she was bored. What else was she supposed to do? She's a super soldier.
Right. So I keep giving me these parallels for sure, and I'll be happy.
I love this. I love that that's what this TV show is doing. It's like, it's making everybody talk more. Like, oh, that's so cool. Like, look at all these cool things. That is like a what if moment, I
will say I was upset she didn't have a mask. I always expected all the superheroes to have a mask. She didn't even have they didn't even give her one. They didn't even take the time.
They couldn't make one.
No, it was sexism right there.
Can you imagine if they gave her a mask like Mongol from Suicide Squad, where the hair had to come off?
Oh my God. Oh no, I don't want to see that.
Or they could have given her the Captain Marvel Mohawk helmet.
Oh yeah.
Gosh. Can you imagine if they played the Captain Britain theme and they just gave her that long tall?
Right. Yeah, the big old yes.
I mean, that was really odd too. Like, she's Captain Carter and she's wearing like, the British flag as her suit, but like she didn't really give off British vibes, if that makes sense. I mean, she had the British accent.
What you want her to do, man? What you want her to do?
Eat some crumpets. Eat some crumpets and tea.
No. In the middle of battle, just like, wait.
Because with Steve, you had a lot of the, the wartime propaganda, like you were mentioning earlier, like, selling the war bonds and everything. So it really felt like he was Captain America. But
sure.
For Peggy, she was just Captain Carter, not even Captain Britain. She was Captain Carter, but she has she has the British flag. So like,
listen, I don't want to be mean, but I'm pretty sure during this time, what you would call it, Great Britain was freaking blitzkrieg like
blitzkrieg like every other week. So it's
they had nothing to represent. What they gonna represent? Some blown up buildings. So
that was what Peggy's purpose was, to boost morale during those
times. I mean, that's what was crazy too, is that like they came out of America, but they gave her the British like representation. Like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting. But then again, also, what's his name was a German scientist, Stanley Tucci.
Probably some bad taste if they're running around repping Germany during World War II.
German flag just running around.
Which is, again, it's unfair to the German Americans who were living in America at the time.
Right.
So that's the misconception. All Germans are bad. But yeah, it was weird. Yeah, she's Captain Britain. That's a taken title, isn't it? That's an X-Men character.
I think so, right? There's definitely gotta be a Captain Britain somewhere.
Okay. Fair enough. I guess the final question I would like to ask you guys is overall rating. What would you give this episode? Are we confirmed for how many episodes we have for What If season 1? 9. 9 total or 9 more after
9
this?
total. 9 total.
Okay. So 8 more episodes after this. I would say, in my opinion, this episode of What If, I would give it like a solid 8. Like it was good. I liked it. It did feel rushed, but I felt like it got to the points that it needed to, so that it could just retell the first Avengers movie, the first Captain America movie.
The first Avenger. It's okay. You got it.
God, I hate it. But I feel like it covered all those beats pretty well. It got to the more interesting parts that I wanted to see. And my score might change later on, depending on what the future episodes of What If and how they handle their source material. But right now, I think What If is so far interesting. Like it covered the things I wanted it to cover, and it leaves room for in the future for it to grow into something else if they choose to continue this plot thread in future episodes or in only the Peggy Carter, segments. So I would give it an 8. What about you guys?
I would give it a 9. I thought it was great.
Dang, a 9.
A 9?
That's a high.
That's high, right?
So here's the reason why. A, I would rewatch it again.
Okay.
B, I would watch it, with family. It's a very family-friendly, episode. It was still action packed. It still had the whole love story inside of it. It had all of that. The only reason why I wouldn't give it anything higher is because for the people who've never seen the first Avenger movie, Captain America: The First Avenger,
Yes.
they might get a little lost and they might think that it's a little rushed. But because I'm a Marvel nerd and I do know the first Avenger movie, I'm like, okay, this is a very cool balance and takeoff from it. So 9.
Okay.
Me,
Okay.
I'm going in between 8 and 9. It was really good, well put together. Like I said, what they did with the time crunch was good. I'd probably say like 8.5 because of the pure aspect that they brought the Iron Man suit in so early. It was crazy to me. Like I didn't think about it, and especially if the world or her alternate universe continues. Like if the early Iron Man suit is there, imagine what the next one's going to be, because like Stark's has been working on it now. So just imagine what could happen if it's like, just imagine how technologically advanced it could be later on if they continue hers. So I definitely give it that. Like I said, 8.5. I want to see what they do. I couldn't give it a 9 yet because I have to see what comes with the next episodes and just how the storylines are going to play out. But definitely 8.5.
Optimistic.
Grandma, go ahead.
I'm gonna be real. I'm a 7. I'm a 7.
That's fine. That's fine. A 7 is safe. A 7 is safe. A 7 is
A
safe.
7 is
Seven
safe.
is passing.
7
Yeah,
is
it's
passing.
passing. It's passing.
It has
I'll
your
just-
attention.
Right, but I'll say this too. I'll rewatch bad stuff. Okay, there are bad products out there that I will.
Well, wait a
rewatch.
minute.
Would you watch GT? Would you rewatch GT?
No, I would not
Okay.
rewatch GT.
Would you rewatch Suicide Squad?
I was just about to say
2016?
I gotta go
2016?
rewatch. I gotta go
Ew.
rewatch Suicide Squad to see if it was really that bad. But I mean, it's in this show, the episode 1. It was enjoyable. Cool concept, definitely a cool concept that you can really build and really do some cool stuff with. Again, I felt this episode was just a rehash in like a summarized video of Captain America: The First Avenger with really a couple of big major twists. In the future, I just want to see like more original stories from these what if threads, you know.
Not just
Take
retellings of the movies.
Exactly.
Okay.
Give us the thread from the movie and then give us this, you know, completely 180 type story. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's enjoyable. I think, yeah, the animation is good. I like that the cast came back, the ones that did. Yeah, I'd like to see more. And again, if this is a continual thread, that'd be really cool to see play out versus, you know, the individual branches. So yeah, it's a 7. It's a 7.
And
I'm giving them room to give me more. And if they don't give me more.
I'm hoping they do as well, because like I think even a story came out today from one of the lead writers of What If, where they're kind of somewhat censored in how and what type of stories they're allowed to tell, because apparently they had an episode of What If where if Spider-Man got turned into a spider, right? And so they were saying it was something weird, like, but it was left on the cutting room floor because they said it was too much body horror, and it was going to go past they said it was going to go past their PG-13 rating for What If.
Well,
No.
so they went and they had their whole Guardians of the Galaxy 3, like when they went and presented the idea on the storyboard, they're like,
that's half the plot.
That's the plot of the third Guardians, and they're like, you have to redo all of that, and they're like,
wow.
The same thing with Spider-Man. They weren't sure if they were even allowed to use Spider-Man.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
When he had the rights to it, so it wasn't until like right before that they got the green light to go and do Spider-Man, and they have an image of him. It's like Dr. Spider or something like that, because he has Doctor Strange's
cape or cloak, right?
Cloak
Oh
around.
yeah, right. They did have that. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. We did have some snippets in the trailers that we've seen so far. I guess I'm excited mostly for what GrandMasterHoop was saying. I want them to be a little bit more daring in the future episodes. They don't have to retell the old Avengers or the old MCU movies. I've seen them at least once. I remember most of it. You don't need to tell me the same story again. So I am excited to see what new threads that they're going to weave into this expanded multiverse. But all right. I would say that covers our thoughts on the first episode, season 1 of Marvel's what if? Remaining optimistic. We'll see what the coming weeks have to say. And yeah, we'll leave you all with that. Don't forget to follow our social media pages at Yonkō Table on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube if you would like to see our lovely faces as we talk about Marvel's What If. But with that, I am DrJaceAttorney, fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop, fellow Supernova Darce, and new Supernova Rico. I was gonna say Rico. I was gonna say Rico. Supernova Rick. Sign it off. Take care, everyone.